everyone, and welcome back to my channel where we discuss all things logistics. Today's video is about a topic that comes up quite often when people are first starting their dispatching journey. It's not something that you will have to deal with on a day-to-day basis. You really shouldn't have to deal with it at all. I never have. I don't know anyone who has. I have heard stories from third parties, so that's why I am bringing you this video today so that you're equipped with the tools you'll need if this situation ever happens to you, because you deserve to get paid if you've done a job, right? Okay, so if for some reason they don't pay you, just follow these few steps. First, I do want to tell you that there's preventative measures that are already kind of embedded within our dispatching process. For instance, if you watched my dispatching step-by-step video, then you know we perform a broker credit check. Now, with the broker credit check, it lets you know if this person is high risk when it comes to paying out or low risk. Now, we all know that all money is not good money. So if this person is high risk and they're in the red, because depending on the source you use, the screen could turn red for high risk or green for low risk. So if you put this person's information in the system and you see that they're high risk, don't do the business. Move right along. But if for some reason they're in the green, everything's good, then move forward with the process. The other measure that we kind of have embedded within this process is when you initially decide to represent an owner-operator, you should send them over some paperwork to complete for you. That'll be their carrier packet, their carrier profile, along with some documents that you'll request from them. Now, you also need to send what's called a credit card authorization form. This credit card authorization form gives you another payment method to have on file. So if for some reason they don't pay you, you can just charge that account. It's not something that you'll want to be using weekly, but you'll use it if you need to. So it's just a backup plan kind of within their paperwork. You can say, oh, I got their credit card authorization form. Let me charge their credit card. Now, next, I would say invoice weekly. I would much rather find out after a week of dispatching for someone that they're trying to avoid paying me versus me having to dispatch for 2 weeks or a month before I find out that this person is giving me nothing and that I have to hunt them down for money. So by you invoicing weekly, it not only helps you to keep track of things and to stay on top of things and keep things in order, but it also prevents things like this from happening, getting to a point where someone owes you hundreds to thousands and now you've dispatched for them for 2, 3, 4 weeks and you're getting nothing. Invoice weekly so that if anything happens, you can kind of nip it in the bud early on as opposed to getting to a point where they owe you a ridiculous amount of money. And last, do your job. Simple. Do your job. The few times I have heard through third parties that people decided not to pay is when that owner operator felt that they dispatched themselves. They felt that they provided themselves with all the services that you said you were going to provide them with. So they said, why would I pay her when I dispatched myself? It doesn't make it right. I'm not saying that they even got away with it. But what I'm saying is do your job. It kind of, helps you avoid getting to this point where someone is deciding not to pay you or avoiding to pay you. So now let's go right into what this video is about, which is what do I do if they decide not to pay me, even though it's not done often? So what happens if they do? So let's say you have invoiced them, the pay date has come and gone, and they haven't paid you. You can't reach them. And just to be dramatic, you tried to charge their credit card and you found out the account is closed or it declined. And now you're like, what do I do? Well, the first thing you can do is threaten to report them to the FMCSA. Now, I say threaten because that should nip it in the bud. No one wants to be reported to the FMCSA. Why? Because that record gets entered into a permanent database. And I have to read this because I always get tongue-tied with this name, but it is the National Consumer Complaint Database, that they would then have a permanent complaint within that database showing that someone complained saying that they didn't pay out or whatever the case may be. And no one wants this on their permanent record. On top of that, when you file a complaint with the FMCSA, they automatically start to launch their own investigation. While that owner operator or that shipper or broker is under investigation, guess what? They cannot do any business. No loads can be moved. No money can be made. No one wants all their money held up over a complaint, over a few $100s that's owed to someone. Now, if this happens, like this is most extreme to them. All their money is held up. They would much rather, let me put it like this. They would much rather pay you as a dispatcher and fire you and be done than not pay you. And then now they have you going around saying that you ran off and didn't pay the money. They don't want that. It's not a good look. So that should take care of everything. Once you file with the FMCSA and that investigation is launched. Now, another route is if you book that load through the DAT load board, they have something called DAT assurance where if a load was booked through their platform, they'll guarantee payment. They'll go through the collection measures for you, and they'll even pay out up to a certain amount depending on what package you have. If you have the lower packages, they'll pay you, their cap is on the lower side, as opposed to if you have one of the higher packages, they'll pay you more depending on what your load was, and so on and so forth. And let's not forget that you have a whole contract with this person. Take them to small claims court. Sue them. Sue them for court calls. Sue them for whatever you got to sue them for, because they should have never made you get to the point where you had to sue them. Now, hopefully none of this ever happens to you and you never get to this point and you never be faced with it. But if you are now equipped with the tools to get paid for the job that you did. I'll see you next time. So if you've enjoyed this video and you want to continue to educate yourself on all things logistics, please like, share, and subscribe. And also remember, with all things logistics, you are in business for yourself, but never by yourself. I'll see you next time.